There are multiple ways to give in any given year. And there's also multiple beneficiaries that can be impacted. Your family, your spouse, your charity, and it could be your kids in the event that you're either being generous or passing away. The crisis that we had in unchartered waters that are taking place in the economy in this crazy time has made gifting something of extreme importance to an awful lot of families. We're going to discuss that on Consider This, how to give money to your family, how to give money to your charity, and how to pass it on to your heirs with the right things to consider. Well, good morning and welcome to Consider This program. I'm your host, Joe Clark.
And I'm Grant Soliven.
Happy to have you along. Hey, gifting is one of those things that really impacts us at the Financial Enhancement Group. Our families tend to be very, very generous, if not with their charities, with their families, and trying to use their capital the best way that they possibly can. We created years ago the program called The Better Giver. Our job is not to help you give more. It's to help you be a better giver, become a more efficient. And when I say that, how do I get rid of assets or exchange assets to get the largest bang for the buck? That means generally paying the least amount of taxes. So Grant, let's say that I've got an IRA and I've got a Roth IRA and I've got an account that we would call after tax. Mm-hmm. And let's just go here first of all. I want to give money to Barb for some reason. Barb's my wife. We've been married for 32 years. I want to give money to Barb for something. Now, should I give it out of my IRA? Should I give it out of my Roth IRA? Or should I give it out of my retail account?
Well, here comes a joke. It's her money too, so you're not giving anything away.
That's
but
not
anyway,
funny. That's not
but
funny.
anyway, so we're looking at that, Joe. Really, the question you want to go back to first is, where am I at in my tax bracket?
Okay.
So if you're using money, so we'll say this: if you're using money in that marital property and you want to use it for something,
let's say I inherited money and I kept it outside of the marital asset. So this really is Joe money. Now,
okay.
We have no such thing.
Right.
But let's pretend that it's Joe money.
So in that situation specifically, really you want to gift appreciated stock and or gift cash in that situation.
Out of which account?
So good question. Out of the Roth and the non-IRA
I can't
account.
give money to the Roth to Barb unless I'm dead.
You can take a distribution.
I can take a distribution, but why would I want to take money out of my precious Roth IRA?
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
So this is what I'm trying to get him to go to and you to go to is it always depends on who the beneficiary is.
Correct.
Always start with the end in mind, right? And God bless you, Grant, for going to the tax side because that's the critical part, right? The appreciated stock part doesn't really help either, though, assuming we are married, because even though the account is mine, we have this happen in a few families where somebody's inherited money and they've got their money over here and it's not really a marital property.
True.
But the 1040, if you're married filing jointly, still comes together.
Correct.
Right? So in this case, it didn't matter what I give her. I was going to have the same tax implication.
Correct.
Right? But it can't come out of the IRA or the Roth IRA. Right?
Right.
That's one of those things. Now let's go to the kids. Right?
Gotcha.
Now I'm going to give money to the kids. I'm still 54 years old, and I'm going to give money to the kids. Now, which account? Which account do I use? The Roth, the IRA, or the retail account, the trust account?
Trust account.
Trust account, right? Because you can't give money to the kids either.
Right.
I'm still breathing, still fog and mirrors, right? Still upright, and this side of the ground. All those expressions that I hear people say when they ask them how they're doing. Well, I'm above ground, right?
Right.
So now, what do I give the kids?
At that point, especially looking at their tax situation.
Absolutely. Now we're starting here, right? Mm-hmm. Now, sort of starting here. There's two things that I would say are equal here. What are the two? If I'm giving money to kids.
So you want to know their tax situation and their age.
Right? Because you want to stay out of this thing called kitty tax, or then everything that you know about taxes just went out the window.
Correct.
Right? So you want to pay attention to that kitty tax. So in my case, I've got a 24-year-old, right? And a 28-year-old. The 24-year-old is finishing up her final year of nursing.
Correct.
Right? However, she's married.
Ooh.
Right? Which gets rid of the kitty tax issue.
It does.
Right? And, so life is good there. So now you're going to look at their taxes. And what are you looking at in their taxes?
I'm looking at their taxable income, Joe.
Okay.
So in taxable income, in case you want to know what that is, you take your adjusted gross income, so that total income minus any standard or itemized deductions. And go ahead, Joe.
No. I'm
No.
just drinking my broth.
That broth came down and you looked like you had a point. With that, once we understand what their taxable income is, if they're married filing jointly, so we'll use your daughter for example, if she's married filing jointly and she has a taxable income under, for this year, 2021, $81,250, is actually a little less than $81,000. If she has taxable income in that range, any appreciated stock you gift her that she sells, all of that taxation under the 12% tax bracket is gone.
They can't see your hands on the radio.
That's true.
Poof.
I went poof.
He went poof,
It's gone.
like it's gone. It doesn't exist, and people get confused because it will show up on your 1040. It just falls out of the computation. It is not deemed taxable income. So let me get this straight, right? I bought Apple stock
Yes.
back in 2006. It is highly appreciated. If I sell it, I've got to pay capital gains at my tax rate.
Yes.
But I can gift my daughters, both of them, stock, but some of those Apple shares,
Yep.
right? I can gift them. What will their basis be?
It'll be your basis.
So if you make a gift during life, this is critical to understand. If you make a gift during life, your basis is the recipient's basis. The person who's going to receive it, it becomes their basis. So let's say that I bought Apple at $100 a share. It was a lot better than that, but we'll forget that. I bought Apple at $100 a share.
Yes.
It's now at 135, 133 as of the time of the taping of this show, right? They get it. And so there's $33 of capital gain. Their basis is mine. I've already paid the $100 on it.
Yep.
Right? They sell it, and they don't have to pay the taxes on the $33?
No, sir.
No, they don't. As long as it stays under the 12% bracket. Now, every now and then people get confused on this because they'll take the $100 plus the $33 and they'll add it all together to see if they went above that threshold of the 12% bracket. It's just the growth.
Correct.
It's not the transfer of the gift. How much can I give them?
You can give them $15,000 out of your estate.
I can. Can Barb?
She can as well.
Even though I've got this isolated money that's over here, right? We have consent to gift splitting, right? That comes with spouses that are automatic. So you're telling me that I could give Kendra and her husband $30,000.
You sure can. And you can actually give $30,000 to both of them.
Oh my goodness,
Yes,
right?
it's a big deal.
If I gave $60,000 worth of Apple, now that's going to count the basis and the gain.
Correct.
And they turn around and sell it. They only have to pay the taxes on the gain up to what's above the 12%. And it's still a preferential item where they may be paying 10% tax relative to what I would have to pay, at my bracket.
Correct.
Right? So my point is, if you don't have to endure kiddie tax, many times if you're making a transfer to a child, pay attention to their age, pay attention to their tax bracket, and consider gifting appreciated stock.
Absolutely.
Now I'm going to die.
Oh, no, Joe. Come
It's
on.
going to happen. God promises it.
Not yet.
No worries. I'm not ready, but if he is, he is. All right. It is what it is. So now I've got this trust account, and I've got a Roth IRA, and I've got an IRA. Who gets the IRA?
Do not leave your IRA, if you're charitably inclined, to your living beneficiaries. Leave that to a charity, please.
If you're charitably inclined, right, you should not have, and you have an IRA or a 401k, if you have tax-deferred assets, you should not have in your will leave X amount of money to or a percentage to a charity or a church. You should change the beneficiary. We do this for people all of the time. It simply has to be updated. We update beneficiaries every time you come in for a family update. It's not that difficult, right? And you just monkey with the percentage so that if something were to happen to you, that money goes directly to the charity. The charity doesn't have to pay tax. Now, would I want the Roth IRA to go to charity?
No.
Why not?
You want that to go to your family.
Absolutely. We've already paid the taxes on it. We've already made this puppy tax-free. Now, Barb can actually take it, and she can have it for the rest of her life.
Absolutely.
Right? As a spouse, it just transfers into Barb's name. If it transferred into the girls' names, what happens?
They have to take it within 10 years.
Even though it's tax-free, they're not going to have to pay taxes on it. They have to dump the account within 10 years.
Yep.
Right? So this becomes very, very important. If we left them the IRA, they still have to take the money in 10 years and pay the taxes on it.
Correct.
Right? So one of the reasons that the Financial Enhancement Group serves as trustee for IRA accounts is to specifically help people understand when they should make those distributions. Because what happens is beneficiaries either have access to the money and they head to Vegas, right?
very
Or the
true.
local car dealer, right? And pay all the taxes in 1 year, which is usually a mistake. Or they're going to hoard the money for 10 years. The account's going to double, and they're going to get hit paying taxes on a $500,000, $1 million, $2 million all in 1 year, and the IRS is going to be there rubbing their little hands and taking that 40% of your retirement savings. So you really want to have somebody who knows how to help them distribute it in the most systematic fashion possible.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, let's say I want to make a charitable gift while I'm alive, and suddenly I'm 70 and a half years old.
70 and a half years old?
Yep. I got old.
You got old. Now, did you turn 70 and a half?
70 and a half are not old, by the way.
That's true.
Got
That's
lots
not.
of them, golf with them, not old. Most of them beat me on the golf course badly.
Did you turn 70 and a half before the Secure Act?
No. And I'm not dead anymore. I'm alive now.
Okay, so now you're back.
I'm back.
Resurrected you.
You know, I'm resurrected. I'm 70 and a half.
So if you're taking that required minimum distribution, and I think
Well,
this
I
is
don't have to yet at 70 and a half. I don't have to take the RMD till 72 now.
Correct.
Thanks to the Secure Act.
Excellent. So that's why my question.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your question. How do you gift money to the charity at 70 and a half?
You do a qualified charitable distribution. And this is something that confuses people with the Secure Act. Even though the Secure Act said required minimum distributions didn't start until age 72, you can still do a QCD, a qualified charitable distribution, at age 70 and a half. They do mean and a half, by the way. Do not try to do that early. They have computers. This AI stuff is really amazing. 70 in 5 months is not 70 and a half. Please be careful with this. You can give up to $100,000 a year. No, you can't give it in a 401k. It has to come out of an IRA. You can't give it in a 403b. It has to come out of an IRA. So you transfer the money to an IRA, and then you do a qualified charitable distribution where the money goes directly to your charity. That's how it works. That's how we do giving in any chaotic period of time. When you have to make gifts, sometimes they are wonderful things. You're trying to help kids build houses, buy homes, do those kind of things, pay for college. Sometimes it's really bad news. But let's make the best use of your capital that we possibly can. If you're going to make a gift, let's be the best giver that we can possibly be. Give us a call at 800-928-4001. My team looks forward to sitting down and working with you. In 90 minutes, we'll tell you things you're going to want to consider today, things you're going to want to consider in the future, and if we choose to partner together, what FEG will do for you, and we'll put it in writing. 800-928-4001.